Hey, this is Tom Flummerfelt, president and founder of MadAthlete.com. Today we're in the Lincoln Woods parking area of New Hampshire in the White Mountains. Objective today is to do the Pemi Loop, which is a 31.5 mile loop with about 9,100 feet of elevation gain, I believe. My goal today is to go all out. I've got the Vermont 100, which is my first 100 miler in 3 weeks, and this is my last major training exercise. And for you, I want to show you a little bit about the course, talk about the gear that I'm using for it, and I'll probably get into a little bit of my training details. So we're going to get going here in a moment, and talk to you later. So we just started, and we're in the Lincoln Woods Trail, old railroad trail. And I'm doing the Pemi Loop counterclockwise. So this is going to be about 4.5 miles on relatively good terrain. I think there's about 500 feet of elevation gain over those 4.5 miles, so not a big deal. And then we'll start heading up. My first bit of single track, not quite 3 miles in. Single track didn't last too long. Moving back on the rails for a number of minutes now. 40-45. And I just turned onto the Bond Cliff Trail off of Lincoln Woods / Wilderness Trail. Now I'll start to go up, although not quite so steeply for a number of miles. Right now I've been booking it. Did that probably in about an 8:40, 8:45 pace to get here to the Bond Cliff Trail. So this again, I'm only a few minutes off the Bond Cliff Trail. First time I'm doing any walking. It's getting a little steeper. This hike / run is different in many ways from my normal training. Normally I train solely off of heart rate. And today, my coach has me putting the watch away and going all out without any guidance of heart rate. So I believe he's thinking that I'm going to push myself too hard early, which I may have done going at that pace. Get to Bond Cliff, and you put, quote unquote, blow yourself to smithereens and just try to dig down deep and finish it off. Or at least I'm tracking heart rate and pace and all of that. Get a better indicator of what my heart rate zone should be for Vermont, since that's how I'm going to run Vermont, is based off of heart rate. It's a little wet down here at certain elevations, a little wet and muddy, but not too bad. We're now an hour 7 in, still on the Bond Cliff Trail. Couldn't get the phone out in time, or the camera out in time, but there have been 2 stream crossings. I don't know, maybe 10 yards, 12 yards wide. I was able to rock hop and avoid getting wet, but there are some times that will not be an option. You'll have to just plow through and get wet. About an hour 20 into it. And this is the first real significant elevation gain. I don't see how well you can see, but actually about a bunch of stone steps. Have to scale this rock here, and then I believe we're just about at Mount Bond. Oh, not quite. Still got a little ways to go. Up Mount Bond. Gotta keep moving, but very nice up here. We're making a loop around. Hop down. So we're going counterclockwise. So going straight and then veering around to the left and back over some of that stuff. Though you can't see the peaks. It is 150, 151 into this. Beautiful area up here. So I was wrong. That was Bond Cliff. Haven't made it to Mount Bond yet. It's pretty technical things at times, particularly if you're going downhill. Here it's pretty good runnable terrain, despite being rocky. So I'm eating at least 100, 150 calories every half an hour and consuming about 30 ounces of sports drink an hour. Only technical issue right now is I can't get anything out of my bladder. Using my bottles for the moment, and then I'll have to take a second to get in my pack and see what's going on. Initial pack weight today was 15 pounds. My heaviest when I get to Galehead Hut and refill with more fluids will be about 16 and a half pounds. I'll be carrying more for the longer second half. All right, 2:18 into it. I passed Mount Bond around 2 hours and 14 minutes in. There's a tight hairpin turn to the left when you get up to the top of Mount Bond. First time I came up here in the spring, there's a trail, looks like it goes straight, but it peters out. So that's the one major difficulty in following the trail so far that I found. After Mount Bond, I stopped. I dumped some fluids from my bladder into my front two water bottles here. Makes it easier to drink. And the bladder's having issues anyway. I did probably lose about 15 ounces in the quick transfer. But considering my pace is faster than expected, not too concerned. I'll still have 100 ounces by the time I get to Galehead Hut. Been a while since I checked in. But 2:56 into this. I hit Mount Guyot at 2:32. I'm perhaps 10 minutes out of, maybe a little less, of I think it's South Twin. So hit the Twins there, the South Twin I believe, in 3:05. So certainly faster than I was expecting, probably by about half an hour or so. So hopefully energy levels feel good. Just got that one little issue in the upper right leg. Otherwise, cruising along. This is the downhill down to Galehead Hut. It does get steeper than this in certain sections with more significant drop-off, so you have to touch the rock. All right, 3:35 into it. I've been in and out of Galehead Hut. Sorry I didn't get video of that. I was trying to get in and out as quickly as possible. Took me about 6 minutes to refill, get my sports drink and my stuff, start on the trail, and then it took me a couple more minutes of getting my food stuffed in my pockets and such before I could really start moving. So lost about 8 minutes in that transition. So 4 hours, 15 minutes in, probably saw a sign from Mount Lafayette, 4.4 miles, maybe 5 minutes ago or so. It's pretty treacherous coming down off of Galehead Hut. Didn't take any diggers, but I almost took about a dozen, including some on some very, very slick rock. Caught my feet a number of times. So obviously a place to be cautious about. .522 into it, still making my way to Mount Lafayette. It's been very technical. Pace has been punishingly slow, and it'd be nice to stretch the legs. This is actually the best area for a while. A lot of very steep, technical up and down. I had 1 mile at just over 30 minutes per mile. So, give you some indication. Six hours and 4 minutes. You can see it in the background. If I got that right. That is Mount Lafayette. Next up, I think is significant one is Mount Lincoln. It's pretty darn windy up here right now. That's why I took my hat off. Feet are good cramp. Certainly am dehydrated despite my fluids. I've only gone to the bathroom once and I've had some twinges. Still plugging along. Hey, this is Tom from Mad Athlete. I finished the Pemi hike about 45-50 minutes ago. Deleted some videos because I ran out of space, and that's why I don't have any videos after Mount Liberty, I believe. So I apologize for that. But the hike/run went really well for me. Finished in 8:19. Hammered it home in the last bit with some sub 8-minute mile pace towards the very end. Average heart rate of 155, which was great. Again, I normally train by a heart rate, but did not look at it during the course to see how hard I could push myself. Doing pretty well right now. I was a little bit fatigued afterwards, but I will try to wrap up at some other point in terms of some of the details of the course and go into the gear that I didn't really get into because of the technical nature of the course and the lack of video space on the camera here. So hopefully this will help. This is again Tom from madathlete.com. Cheers.